Okay, good morning. Daily Tanya for Tuesday, page 92. We continue for the 17th of Sivan. We continue with chapter 6. And it seems like chapter 6's goal is to show us even down here, where you have, we say God interacts with creation via the 10 sfirot, the 10 attributes, creative attributes. And therefore, there's reality is really only possible via the 10 sfirot, but breaking down to their most elemental level would be chesed, the constant godly energy flow to create reality, and the gevura, the hiding of that energy so we could feel a sense of autonomy, even though those seem to be opposite modes. One is revelation of God's extreme closeness and our dependency on that, and one is the shield that hides that, makes us feel distant. And we mentioned 2 days ago that in the source, all those are one. In the essence of you, right? Somehow there's all these opposite parts can exist. But what happens when these parts are coming out? The truth is, and therefore they seem like there's, two relational aspects of God. The truth is they're all one. How are they all one? They're two different parts, two different modes. And this is because we see that if they were truly opposite modes, they could not have mutual integration. They cannot really serve each other so well. The fact that chesed, kindness, flow, endless flow, can be served by gevura, because if God gives you endless flow, there's no one to receive. There's no other. There's just God.
Amen.
So when God uses the attribute of gevura, of Hashem's distancing, hiding himself, that ends up actually making the flow come to somebody. There's a somebody now, but that's only possible because of the shield of gevura. So we see that gevura is not just like a fighter against giving. No, I'm not going to give. It facilitates giving, and vice versa, right? That the gevura, I don't know the other way, but whatever. Didn't give that example. So let's go inside. So this mutual inclusion of the attributes, their opposite natures notwithstanding, it is evident that he and his causations, God meaning his attributes, this is from the Zohar, causations, the tools he uses to cause stuff, the sfirot, which are also known as his midos, his attributes, they are one with him. Why? Because since they are in complete unity with him, they therefore unite with each other and comprised of each other. As Eliyahu said, we say this in the passage beginning Patach Eliyahu, which we say every Shabbos before Mincha. And you are he who binds them, you, God, the one who binds the Sfirot, together and unites them. And apart from you, there is no unity among those attributes above. Yeah. This then is the, so in other words, because everything is so united with all these tools are not independent things. They are windows into to the full spectrum of God's endless God's oneness. So they all complement each other. This then is the meaning of the scriptural phrase we say in the Aleinu, right? We say, V'hashivoisa el levacha ki havaya hu elikim. Take unto your heart that Havaya is Elokim. That is, these two names are actually one. Havaya is Chesed in Revelation. Elokim is Tzimtzum and concealment. And then those seem to be opposites, but nope, they're one. That's what we're saying. It's all one. What do you mean? If God's close, that's one way. If God's hiding, that's another way. No, it's all one. For even the name Elokim, which conceals and contracts the light force, is a quality of Chesed, just like the name Havaya. For the attributes of the Holy One, blessed be He, unite with Him in a complete unity, and He and His names are one, for His attributes are His names. Whatever. The names are basically reflective of the Sefirot. And then since this is so, that they're one, you will consequently know that in the heavens above and on the earth below, Einod. This Hebrew phrase means that even the material earth, which appears to everyone's eyes to actually existing, is not and are nothingness in relation to the Holy One, blessed be He. The material earth, which appears to be existing, is really nothing in relation to the God, Holy One, blessed be. Why? For the name Elokim, which obscures and tracts and gives us a sense of self, is only for us, is for the neither creatures. But not one for the Holy One, blessed be, since He and His name Elokim are one. Therefore, even the earth and that which is below are not in nothingness in relation to the Holy One, blessed be, and are not called by any name at all, not even by the name of Od. Right? There's not even an Od. There's not even an else besides Him. What does that mean? That, meaning if you take, there's other ways to write, there's nothing besides God. There's, Ein klum, me Hashem. There's nothing at all besides Hashem. The fact that he used the word Od, there's not even an Od besides Him. What's an Od? So the way Od usually can mean else, but the way it's used many times is a secondary else. Like, for example, there's an expression in the Gemara, Yehuda v'od l'kra. I believe the Gemara there was giving the Talmud cites a custom from the land of Judah as an additional evidence to support an explicit verse in the Tanakh. So the Talmud, why you give me a custom to prove a verse? We don't, you don't say like, it says in the Constitution, freedom of speech. And look, my local newspaper, and I'll prove it to you. The local newspaper, how do I know that this is a foundational value? It says in the Constitution, and also because my local newspaper does free speech. Like, why would you need your local newspaper when you have a stronger proof from a more foundational text? So too in the Torah. If it says in the Torah, that's the end. Put on tefillin. Because I saw somebody in Rochester one time put on tefillin. The answer, when you have
But Rabbi, can't the two sort of be complementary, like Torah and mitzvot?
No, it could be, but the point is, as far as proving the legitimacy of an idea.
Oh, okay.
We're trying to proving the legitimacy, the truth of something, of God's will.
Okay.
You say, it says in the Torah black and white. And also, I saw this guy do it once. The fact the guy does it is not a proof of the idea. You have the greatest proof. It says in the Torah, direct.
Okay.
So that's what they ask there. They make like a statement, Yehuda v'od l'kra, which means like it's like a sarcastic way, like, you give me a proof of a custom of Judah to prove something that says right in the Torah. Like, you bring a custom from Judah, and you also mention the Tanakh. But the way they say is Yehuda v'od v'od. V'od is like secondary, and you need that secondary to the verse. So od means like a secondary something. Like, for example, where do we see that in Torah and things that we know, us beginner Hebraists? We know a little bit of prayer and Torah, and we know some words also. You'll see in a second. Don't think it's like the body and the soul. The way that God interacts with the world is like God's the soul, and the world, the physical, is the body. It's not like that, because in there, which we see in the Torah, we see in Tehillim, we see in davening, Ahal Hashem b'chayoy. I praise Hashem with my life. I praise Havaya with my life. Life means life forth, my soul. And then it says, Azamra, King David says, Azamra lelokai b'odi. I will sing to Hashem with my ode. My odi. What's odi? Odi is my body, because the body is the secondary sense of self compared to the soul. For the life, we know, and that's why it's interesting to know, the life forth, the soul, is a glimmer of Havaya, because that's revelation. And that's the primary sense of revelation. The body is secondary compared to the soul as a sense of self. It's a more hidden sense of revelation. So it's called the secondary. The body is called the secondary sense of self. And that comes from Elokim. So now the way that God operates with the world is not exactly like the way the soul gives life to the body, which, by the way, the Gemara says that. The Gemara does say that you compare the way Hashem fills up the world with life like the way the soul fills up the body. But I believe that that's not a blank check to say that's 100% like that. It's saying in a certain aspect how Hashem gives life. Meaning, once we have the reality of the physical world after creation, and we have the reality of a spiritual higher life force, there's always an interplay between those two forces. But in Tanya, we're getting even more elemental. He's saying it's even before that, the whole reality of anything, a physical and or spiritual, is nothing other than God. Why is it not like the why is the way God creates the world, creates reality, not like a soul giving life to the body? Because by the soul does not create the body. The body is created by, whatever, the womb, by food and drink, whatever it takes to make a physical body.
Those are vessels, though.
Right, but it's not created from your soul. Your soul is one entity. Your body is another entity. It happens to be that the soul is the battery for the body, but it doesn't actually make the body.
Can.
But he finished off today, but as to holy and blessed to be, who brings everything into existence ex nihilo, everything is absolutely nullified in relation to him, just as the light of the sun is absolutely nullified in the sun. Yeah. The Hashem is making everything from ex nihilo every moment. So therefore, we don't even say, that's what we say, ein od milvado. There's not even a secondary sense of something that is, humbled in the face of Hashem. The secondary sense of something, of existence, that alone is God. Because God's perpetually keeping it up, keeping it alive.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the takeaway of today? So a couple things is that, first of all, reality is created with an interplay of chesed and gevura, but that doesn't mean that reality is made up of different ingredients. Ultimately, those are two sides of the one Hashem. And both are, that's why they cooperate, even though they're opposites, because they're both the right hand and left hand of Hashem. So you're seeing already a oneness within the forces that make reality possible. And because of that, we say, why are we mentioning that? And that's why here is number one. Meaning there's nowhere to have a sense of otherness in this world. What do you mean? What about Tzimtzum? Nope. That's part of Hashem's plan. That's part of Hashem's tool belt.
Mm-hmm.
Interdependent tool belt. So it's all part of Hashem.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering why he's going in this. Everything is an aspect of Hashem, even a sense of concealment from Hashem, which is where we get our sense of self. Even that is a divine creation, is a divine projection.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a divine projection that is intertwined with all the divine projections, which is leading us to understand how there's no room for anything besides the oneness of Hashem.
Oh man.
Even the idea of other worlds.
Right. It's just another manifestation. So there's 2 points. Everything is dependent on Hashem because there's no constant life force. The constant chesed, it wouldn't exist. But even the fact that we don't have that default realization and things appear independent of Hashem, that too is a highly delicate aspect of Hashem. And his point also is that the reason that we see, otherness besides Hashem, that's from our vantage point. But God is also making our vantage point.
Mhm.
Understand? Like he's even giving your vantage point existence.
Mhm.
So
Wow.
so on a higher level, we realize how there's no room for feeling other than Hashem. Even the fact that we could feel other is an aspect of Hashem.